how's everyone doing? So in the last video, I did a curriculum haul, and this video, I've put together everything I'm using for my 8th grader. And well, not everything. There are 2 things that I'm waiting on, but we can still talk about it. It takes so long for books to ship, as I think everybody knows, because it goes media mail. So they like literally just walk it to your house. Sometimes it seems like. Stay tuned to the end of the video because we are going to do a giveaway. So hopefully, you know, somebody gets something that they can really use or share with a friend. So my 8th grader he's off to a great start. So we started school a couple of days ago for my 6th and my 8th grader. My kindergarten child woke up with, actually he didn't wake up with a fever. He developed a fever halfway through the day on Saturday. And so he is not doing school this week because he ran a fever until yesterday. And he woke up this morning and he didn't have one, but I don't know. You know how that is. So we're going to start his school year off correctly with, you know, him in good spirits. So so I'm kind of in zombie mode. That's why I'm like, because I've been up. You guys know how it is at night with a sick kid. So let's talk about 8th grade. It's like that weird transition where they're not into the full high school stuff, and they've moved beyond kind of that 6th grade transitional, you know, where a lot of that stuff was still kind of similar to 5th grade. And so he's going to be producing more, you know, writing more, he's going to read more, but, you know, it's nice. It's still not high school. So the first thing I want to show, this is our history. It's BJU Press, and this is the 4th edition, which I think is the newest edition for this history. We did the 5th grade BJU Press history and loved it. I like the formatting of it where they read and then you ask questions and then they read a little bit more, you ask more questions, and then they do the activities. I feel like that's just, you know, a really nice kind of conversational learning style. So he's going to go through the early American, you know, from the Native Americans all the way through. This looks like the 1960s. Oh, I see George Bush. Oh, there's Rush Limbaugh. You know what's so crazy? They're talking about Clinton and NAFTA. When the history as an adult, it's the things that you live through. So last year, my 5th grader was learning about the World Trade Center and Barack Obama's presidency and all those things. And I'm like, oh, how old am I? It seems like it's still the present. It doesn't seem like it's the past yet, but here we are. So that's one of the fun things too when you're doing school with your kids is you're like, oh man, I lived through that. Is this accurate? Like, oh yeah, I guess, I don't know if our memories are correct or not, but so let's see, where does this go? Oh, Google. Oh, doesn't that make you feel old? I remember being a senior in high school and my friend saying, have you tried Google? And I was like, Google, that's a weird word. That'll never catch on. Was I wrong? So it looks like we're ending with the election of 2014, from what I gather. So this is all curriculum too, by the way. I have not used before. My oldest is an 8th grader. And so I've used BJU Press before, and that's why I chose this and I like it. But this is going to be my first year teaching this specific, you know, this to my child. So he's excited about it. I think the cover drew him in. You know, 8th grade boy, that's kind of appeals to him. So I think we'll see. Maybe I should do a video at the end of the school year and kind of like my year in review of what I thought of this. So there's a workbook coming and the teacher's edition. In my haul, I didn't receive the teacher's edition or the tests or the workbook. So I've ordered all those and they're coming. All right, on to kind of the language arts section of this. Excursions in literature. This is the 3rd edition, and this is, I believe there's a 4th edition. And so this is also BJU Press. we've started this and I really like it. I like it because it asks him a lot of really introspective questions in what do they call it? Call it the thinking zone. And so they ask interpretive questions, literal questions, critical thinking questions, appreciative questions. And then all of this too, anything that you get from BJU Press is going to have a biblical theme tied into it. And so that's really nice, I think, just as you're talking and as you're going over curriculum, to have the opportunity to talk about the Bible and God and kind of, what would have been the Christian perspective of the scenario that's presented. So here's the other thing. I have already this year used the BJU Press Homeschool Hub multiple times, and it could just be extreme laziness on my part, but these books come with a CD-ROM. A lot of what's on the CD-ROM is on the Homeschool Hub, so I don't have to go and like hook up I have like an external drive, so I don't have to hook all that up. I can just log on, print off everything I need, and that's been easiest for me so far this year. Plus, I like in the Homeschool Hub, you can track. Do you guys use this? Let me know. Do you use the BJU Press Homeschool Hub? Because you can track their grades, you can enter notes if you need to, and you can check off if you finish the lesson. I've really enjoyed it. I don't use it to the full extent. Maybe in high school, just to produce, because you can produce, I think, like the grade reports and things. But I really like it. So I recommend checking out the Homeschool Hub. All right, on to grammar. So this is Fix-It Grammar. I've used Fix-It Grammar in the past. I haven't used it. I didn't use it last year. We did a workbook. But this is Mowgli and Shere. And so the cool thing about this is every day they go through and they correct a sentence, and it gets more complex as they go. But by the end, they have written and they've edited the entire story of Mowgli and Shere. So I'm trying to flip to the back of this where it shows the whole story. So I'm not finding it. You guys, you know where I'm going with this. Oh, this is the teacher's manual. The student book, I think, has it. The only thing that I thought was weird about this is that the teacher's manual has the glossary, and the student version doesn't. And I thought that was strange, because I feel like I want the kid to be able to look it up in their book, not in mine. But that's just a minor, it's really not that big of a deal. And so it's pretty in depth. And I did it once when they were younger, and I thought, oh, this is kind of a lot, but they caught on and they loved it. And they actually loved the story, especially Robin Hood. They got really into, they were like, oh, I want to see the end. So, that's what we're going to do for grammar. We need grammar in this house. And then after grammar, we've got writing with skill. I love it. It's one of those things that it builds kind of slowly, like just very incrementally. But then by the end of the year, it's like, oh, wow, you really learned a lot. Like the way he was able to draft his essays and put everything together, I was really happy about it. So they go through and they do outlining, they do summarizing, all different kinds of things, like note-taking skills that if they were going to write an essay, it prepares them for all of that. And then it has them read different types of literature. So it'll have them read, a scientific thing. It'll have them read a historical thing, biographies, all that kind of stuff. So then when they're done, they can produce a really well-written, well thought out bit of writing. So writing with skill, Susan Weisbauer. This is a well-trained mind. And there is a teacher's guide that goes with it. This is just the student book. And I just noticed it's a trebuchet on there. It's probably why my son, they know to make things interesting for kids, because kids are like, oh, that's cool. So another thing we need in this house, my husband had taken the boys somewhere. I don't know where he took them. And he said, we need to do spelling this year. So we do. This is frequently misspelled words 6th to 8th grade. And I like this because it doesn't feel onerous to the kids. It's not like, oh, this is going to be another, hour long thing. So it's kind of cool. Like this one, they make a crossword. and then or a word search. And then this one says, write a funny story using 5 words. So they don't even have to use all the words. They use the set of words over several different days or lessons. So like write the 10 easiest words, write the 5 toughest words, create questions, create exclamations, just different things to make it fun. But the words are good. They're definitely words that we need to work on. Some of them are easy, like against, but then we have, harass, immediate, etc., equipped, discuss, and then it works all the way up to psychologist, minuscule, attitude, summary, which, perseverance, 40, just good practice. So we're going to do this probably for the rest of our lives until they become expert spellers. I've done all different spelling with them, and it just comes down to practice. So we'll get there. And then math. Where did I put it? Math, the most important one. This is Algebra 1/2. It is pre-algebra, Saxon math. So far, he's loved it, which is saying a lot for math. And I think it's because with Saxon and it spirals year after year. So the first few lessons are probably... not probably, they are reviewing things that he learned last year, reading and writing whole numbers. He feels like it's so easy. And so that's a good way to start pre-algebra, is not to be intimidated. So he's just going through, he's reviewing everything he's learned. He's spiraling from last year, getting him ready for the bigger, harder things along the way. So pre-algebra, so exciting. We also have, science is coming in the mail. It's the Apology of Science, 8th grade curriculum. It's earth science. I loved the 7th grade version last year. We've only ever done Apology of Science. So I don't really have anything to contrast that with because we loved it so much. We've done almost all of the elementary ones. And what I like with the middle school is that it has labs. He has to write a lab report. And then it's kind of cool because it is also from a Christian perspective, but they talk about evolution and they talk about, kind of like the secular science, and they say like, well, here is why creationism kind of disproves some of these theories. And they're really getting both sides, which is kind of something that most secular curriculum, they never present creationism. So kids really aren't getting a balance. But it proves why, creationism is the truth. And like one of them was tree rings and how you can date things based on that way more accurately than, some other methods. So that's coming. And then we also do some Bible studying throughout the week. In the past, when they were younger, we used Awana. So the kids went to Awana on Wednesday nights and they would work on their verses for Awana during our school day. And that worked out really well and they loved it. I thought it was great because they have to bring, if anybody does Awana, you have to sign off on their books and everything. So that was what we used for Bible. So this year we're going to do for our Bible, I'm going to let the boys pick plans from the Bible apps on their phone. That way they're kind of doing the things that apply to them and that they're kind of, thinking about. And that's it. I'm trying to think of any other, like sometimes we do some Spanish, sometimes we definitely are going to do all of that through high school. But that's everything. It's funny because on one hand, it seems like a lot, and then on the other hand, it seems like not enough. But we include other things just as part of school to make them well-rounded. So 4-H, they're at different athletic activities. There are different church activities that we do. We're going to do some field trips. Ooh, do you guys want to come along with us on our field trip? So we have a trip planned to Mesa Verde. We're going to go to a flower farm. What else? Oh, there's a zoo here that we need to visit. There's some local, like town or county, like local history museums that we're going to visit. So just, different things to kind of enrich. Last year we went to a cave. It was a mine. It wasn't a cave. It was a mine, and we saw the gemstones that they were mining, and we could search for our own gemstones. So that was really cool. The boys loved it. except my oldest one refused to wear a coat, so he about froze to death because it was very cold. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're heading towards. We'll do a video. Maybe we should do like a halfway through video to see how on track we are, and then do a video at the end of the year to see how we liked it. So our giveaway, I am going to give away this first Latin language discovery program. So this is the student activity book 1, and this is the teacher's guide 1. But this is a cool program. So it goes through kind of in a story style where it talks about the Roman story. And then as it tells the Roman story, it introduces Roman words and phrases. So very cool. I will ship this to you if you are subscribed. So you need to have it turned on where I can see that you're subscribed, and comment. So comment, what is your favorite subject to either do with your kid or your favorite subject that you learned in school. So my favorite subject with my kids is definitely history. I have so much fun reading through that with them and talking about it with them. Not only history, but reading. You know, any of the language arts kind of things I just think are so much fun. And I kind of have to drag my kids through it a little bit. So it's probably a good thing I enjoy it, because if they hated it and I hated it, it probably wouldn't be the greatest. So yeah. If you feel like, oh, I don't really need this, maybe you could sell it. Maybe you could give it to a friend. It's always great to get free curriculum. I will say though, don't give it to the kid that's homeschooled, because when we first said we were homeschooling, all of a sudden everything that was being sent to my kids, they were getting like workbooks and science kits, which science kits are cool, but workbooks, not so much. It's like, I don't really just want the only Christmas presents I get to be school stuff. Give it to the mom. Give it to the mom or the dad. So yeah, comment, subscribe, and we'll see if you win. I will announce the winner next week. So I'll get in contact with you. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any good ideas about the curriculum I'm using, if you've used it in the past. I'd be curious to know what you guys are using with your 8th graders. This is a whole new school year for me. I have never done 8th grade. This is my oldest kid. So I always feel like, you know, with the oldest kid, there's a sense of trepidation. Whereas with the younger ones, it's like, okay, I've done this before. I know what we're doing. And I just feel so much more confident with, you know, seeing where they start and knowing where he'll be when we get to the end of the year. And so it's funny how even after several years, like you still kind of have that like, oh, kind of sense of nervousness at the beginning of the school year. So thank you guys. Like and subscribe. Bye.